It's a podcast. It's a podcast down in Podcastry.
Going to
Town of Podcast.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is Producer Richard, and across from me is the Doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you. We're back, baby!
Baby.
Oh, yeah!
New year, same us.
Yeah, we're not changing. No, we've perfected this. Why would we change?
Yeah. Well, you would know better than most.
What?
You went back to the...
Oh.
You went back and experienced the beginning.
The thing that we tell people not to do, I did. And
yeah, you stared into the void.
And
the void spoke back weirdly for 40 minutes.
No, the problem with the void was there was a lot of gaps in the void talking.
I love the message that you sent me where you're like, oh my God, there's so many fucking long pauses in this. And I cut a bunch out.
I remember cutting them out. I was like, these were the ones I kept in? Oh no.
Yeah, these are content pauses. These are pregnant pauses.
Yeah,
There's
it's dramatic.
Potential in here. Yeah.
No, there was no potential. And there was
That's so funny to me.
There was also this voice in there that made like NPR look way too like dramatic and interesting.
Right. Was that me?
Nope.
Okay.
No, we got rid of that voice. Yeah, you also sounded so young and like the world was in front of you. And
I was just starting a podcast. I had the whole now I'm stuck in this hell.
Speaking of being stuck in this hell, we have a review.
Hey!
5-star review number 100.
Ooh, I almost said cinco, but that's not what that is.
No, that's 5. No, come on, you dug this whole...
Centurio.
What is it in Russian?
I actually don't know.
Oh, no.
I can't count that high in Russian yet.
Fair. 3 random graphic novels in a bookstore somewhere. That's where these were found.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, I remember these ones, yeah.
These were
printed out reviews that were then just placed into random books in a bookstore.
This might be my favorite reviews we've ever gotten.
Yeah, this was very funny. Because we were sent a video of like a sort of sneaky whisper video of like, here we go, putting it in the book.
So good. I fucking loved this shit.
Very funny.
I wonder if we got even one. If one person started listening to this podcast because of that, please let us know.
Oh my God, yeah. That would be amazing.
That's all I want.
Would love to hear that.
Also, just in general, if you found our podcast because of some weird review, please let us know.
Yeah. You'd be like, I was going to go to the Starbucks in Atwater in Montreal, and I saw this review on it that was about your podcast.
Yeah, or I was in class and my teacher wrote this down on the wall.
on the whiteboard. Yeah.
Or like...
That's right, we have gotten some fun, weird ones.
I was listening to another podcast and they had a question that was a review of your podcast.
Yeah.
These are the things that I want. Yeah, let us know if you found us in a very interesting way.
Yeah, I would love that.
I like that. So, it comes from Ryan Putney.
Yeah, he put these reviews in 3 different books. Putney's reviews.
He takes review and put in books.
Knee.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you put an eye in there,
keep all those pauses in too, please.
I stopped editing like that hardcore a long time ago. Yeah, it's Ryan Putney.
What?
Ryan Putney.
Oh my God. If he was in Quebec, he'd be Ryan Putini.
I don't get it.
Oh, sorry, Ryan Crazy Fries.
Oh, that's very funny. Ryan goes on to say, hey, are you a fan of DC Comics, but you wish you knew more about the world of DC? Wish you could ask someone questions that are too frustrating to look up on the internet? Well, I have the podcast for you. I'll give you my personal recommendation for this 5-star podcast of a man, or should I say, doctor. who possesses an encyclopedic knowledge of the DC universe, along with his amazing producer. Oh, yeah.
I mean, slightly overselling him.
Richard. This incredible duo have an amazing chemistry that will not only leave you knowing more about DC, but they will also leave you laughing and feeling absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we make ourselves feel bad for your good.
Anything for you.
Yeah. Are you not entertained?
I can't keep doing this.
Now with 200 episodes, oh wow, this was a while ago. You can, what is this one? 224.
This is 224.
It's
I
actually
mean, a
not
bunch
bad.
of them were documents. This is a relatively
Fair. Yeah.
recent
Fair.
review.
You can start anywhere, though the hosts do recommend starting at episode 80. Well, because there's not any other episodes. We weirdly did try this like fun, funky thing where we, number 1 was actually number 80.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when you're doing, this is a very like inside thing, but if you, it's like when you're doing your first invoices as a small business and you don't want it to be invoice number 1, so you do like invoice 100, and they're like, oh, you're my 100th invoice. I'm not a new business. However, I personally have listened to every episode and loved them all. Although, when they lose their third member, I mean, I barely have one member. The show really does become way more enjoyable. Yeah, I mean, having 3 members would definitely make something more enjoyable. Have a question for the doctor? You can submit questions to the doctor via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or email at drdcpodcast@gmail.com. Just type Dr. DC Podcast on Google search, and you will find multiple ways to listen to this remarkable podcast. Happy listening.
I love that. I also love the idea that, like, maybe their books no one takes out. And in like
20 years.
In like 20 years when podcasts are obsolete.
And the world is destroyed.
And the world's destroyed. Someone's like, this is the only thing that historians from the future find. And they're like, wow, this must have been an important... If someone was leaving these,
yeah,
this must have been an important beacon for their era. We'll just like throw off
when the raiders break into...
It would be like learning that the Rosetta Stone was like Yelp. It's like it'd be like, oh, it seems to be, we found it, it's in 3 languages, but it seems to be a review of the Sphinx.
Yeah.
Overrated, noses missing, 1 star. It's like
cat or person, make up your mind. That's amazing.
I love that.
I like that a lot. Thank
Ryan. You very much for those physical copy reviews that are out there somewhere.
Mwah. And now we can finally start our Ghostfacers podcast.
Yep. We're starting now.
We've got some news.
I forgot how many to do.
I know.
I almost didn't.
I got the wrong amount. Need to do it again.
I almost couldn't dismount there.
Because usually so flawless.
I mean, I sort of thought so, but wow.
Sorry, was my inflection saying otherwise? I wasn't sure. First piece of news, Wonder Woman 3 getting fast-tracked with Patty Jenkins to write and direct. I'm kind of surprised about this. You would think that maybe after the way that this new one was received.
Except that it's crushing.
I mean, it's doing well in like downloads, I suppose, but...
And even in money. It crossed $100 million, and it's barely in cinemas. That's outrageous.
It is interesting.
You know, like that's considering like that's what did Tenet do? Like 40 million, 50 million, something like that. Like and Tenet was in more cinemas.
I really preferred
like
the 11th Doctor.
Nice, yeah. I think Tenet would have benefited from having David Tennant in it.
Oh, a Tennant, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Also kind of makes sense within the context of the movie, too. It's the same forwards and backwards.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, fine. For some reason, this whole movie has become a weird powder keg, even though I think it's just because it's like the movie that happened this year. You know, I think if every movie that was supposed to come out this year had been able to come out, I don't know that this would be as like
poorly received
or just as like contentious. Like, I think people just been like, yeah, it's weird. It's fine. It's like they
Do you think that it's the internet is so used to like constantly like getting rid of this anger that they have towards movies throughout the entire year that it's all pent up?
I think I don't think it's only that. I mean, the movie it also invites some like weird,
It is a weird
controversy and stuff like that. It's weird for superhero movies. It makes weird choices even in the context of its own logic.
Yeah.
Like there's weird things about it, but I do think there's an aspect of like the sort of pent up, like we haven't really been able to bitch about very many movies this year at all.
And this one's got a girl in the lead.
Well, you always get a little
and it's
bit,
a comic book thing.
you always get that little spice on top.
Yeah.
But
I just wonder because it's like there's a woman as a lead. It's a comic book thing that is like not really comic book accurate. Like it feels like it almost feels like you're antagonizing like the fucking neckbeards.
I mean, fuck them, but like, I do think there's a little bit of. It's also there's probably a bunch of people who maybe ordinarily wouldn't have been as interested, or who just wouldn't have posted their opinion because they don't care about superhero movies, are now like, this is the only big movie of the year. I need people to know what I think of it. I have thoughts. It's weird as hell. Like I think there's a lot of reasons why it seems to have ignited such like a weird kind of storm of, it goes one way where people are like overly positive. Then there's this wave of cynicism that comes back over it. Then people say it's problematic. Then someone else says, no, this is exactly what we need. Then Richard Donner says, this is a great movie. And then it's like this weird sort of, it's a very bizarre thing. If you want to hear our thoughts on it, listen on Friday on the Double Dose on Patreon. We got that coming out. I mean, no surprise to say we liked it, but yeah, it's definitely fucking weird and like
there's some problematic stuff in there.
It's messy.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm surprised that there's a third one coming.
I'm a little bit surprised that they're like fast tracking it too.
Well, I think maybe they want maybe her to get some work on that done before she gets totally swept up by Rogue Squadron, in case that does well, and then she's attached to more of those. Like I think there might be an aspect of that, just the strategic planning there too. I would think
that's fair. That makes a lot of sense. Is there any expectations or things that you want out of a third?
I hope it's modern day.
Oh, yeah.
I think everything Patty had said up to this point indicates that it probably would be.
Yeah.
I'm
assuming it's a return to Themyscira.
Maybe. I mean, I think we talked about this maybe more I don't know when we talked about this, but I would like some sort of idea of like, you bring in a character like Veronica Cale, who's like a classic sort of Wonder Woman kind of antagonist. You bring in a Dr. Psycho, like an actual full-on misogynist. And then you make it kind of like a Killmonger Black Panther thing, which is like, what are the Amazons doing for the women in man's world? Like, that's great. You've got your own little island, but like, there's women out here. Like that might be like an interesting little capstone on the trilogy, is like, ultimately what does Wonder Woman, what do the Amazons bring to the world? So whether that means the Amazon nation is introduced to the world, or Wonder Woman like has to finally bring Amazonian everything kind of out publicly, because to this point she's sort of like secret in World War One, then she's sort of secret she's quote unquote in the 80s.
She's forced to be because of Justice League.
Yeah, she's a bit more out in the open, but like it would address those things we talked about, where maybe this version of Wonder Woman isn't fully like a leader, like a world leader, an ambassador of kind of peace and thing. I think it'd be neat for a third movie to tackle that kind of stuff. And Patty Jenkins, I think, is being very deliberate in trying to tackle more conceptual elements with these Wonder Woman movies, like about our baser nature, or about, compassion over greed and things like that over the last couple of movies. So I think it fits as a trilogy, but you could also, then you bring in a character like a Dr. Psycho or something like that. And you bring in a character like Silver Swan or Veronica Cale, and then kind of grapple with like, what is your legacy, Wonder Woman? What's the legacy of the Amazons? Are you cowards that hide, or do you do something to the benefit of the world in general, but also to women?
Yeah,
I think that would be kind of neat.
Yeah, I
don't know. I can't pitch a plot, obviously.
What?
All right, so we open up.
No, I think we're good.
What? You don't want to hear my plot?
So let's talk about comic books.
Fine.
We've got a bunch of stuff coming in March.
That's true. I mean, basically the DC line is not like resetting, but
We
it's
got a
sort
bunch of
of
new teams. So
there's a revamp. There's a lot of new creative teams.
So the Flash gets a new creative team.
Yep.
That starts in March.
Yep.
Nightwing teams with Batgirl when he returns this March with a new creative team.
Yeah, Tom Taylor is writing that one, which is very cool, very exciting.
And of course, how could you not have a day that goes by without a new Joker series? The Joker's getting his own solo series in March.
Yeah, whatever. Sure. Fine.
Action Comics and Superman get brand new creative teams.
And we talked about it on the Patreon on our sort of 2021 look ahead thing, but a lot of these books will now feature backup stories. So in Action Comics, there will be a Midnighter backup, or, you know, in Batman, there's a backup with whatever, Red Hood.
Yeah.
Or in Justice League, there'll be a Justice League Dark backup. So you're actually getting like multiple stories in most of these books.
Yeah.
There's a new Swamp Thing series with Ram V writing, which is dope. Ram V, who took over like Justice League Dark and stuff, like the more recent run of it. There's a lot of cool, kind of fun, interesting stuff coming, and a bunch of things that they said are coming and are not in the March solicitations, which means that I think there's a sort of staggered thing where maybe in April we'll see like this new Green Lantern series that's supposed to be coming, and the Yara Flor Wonder Girl thing that we were sort of told about, and all these other things. I think there might be a little bit of like stages to releases of new stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some of these new teams, and
I think it'll be fun, like it's not like a full reboot, but it's just, it's that kind of like editorial reset. There've been a lot of shakeups in the higher ups at DC. We get sort of future state. We're kind of getting this infusion of like new perspectives and new voices and that. And I think March is kind of the start of seeing what that direction is.
Totally.
Yeah.
Batman Urban Legends gives The Dark Knight the anthology treatment.
Yeah, so this is like not just a story and a backup. This is like a full anthology. There's like 6 stories in this book. So it's like a big, massive, like $10 book.
Love me some anthology series.
But really cool idea. I think in general, I like the idea of multiple stories in a book.
I wonder what the urban legends thing is. Is it just like the Batman as an urban legend, like amongst like criminals?
I think it's just the name. I think it's just a cool sounding name. Like
I
don't think it's even like a concept. It's not even like a concept album kind of thing. I think it's just like, what do you call a Batman anthology? Because they're all sort of Batman adjacent characters, like Red Hood or Damian or like all these ones. So I think it's more just that than anything.
Fair.
But pretty cool. And that's alongside one that isn't starting in March, but there's another anthology book called Truth and Justice that either starts this month or in February. That is sort of like a different team up book. It's going to have Vixen and stuff in it, some new characters. So I like this sort of shift to sort of anthology and like story and backup kind of mode that we're in right now. I'm curious to see if people enjoy it or if that's just me, but
I'm always into the anthology stuff. It's always a big thing for me.
Wonder
Woman celebrates 80th anniversary with new digital first series.
This is the Sensational Wonder Woman. Which is a riff on like the old Sensation comics and stuff like that featured Wonder Woman as the lead character. It looks cool. I'm always up for more Wonder Woman stuff. The easy complaint is that there's too many Batman books.
Well, this is a solution for that, and it's female representation. So yay!
It's that Wonder Woman always deserves more titles.
Yeah,
but go and buy it because you can't complain that Batman gets too many books if you don't buy it.
Exactly,
because people buy the Batman books.
Speaking of the big three. The Man of Steel stars in DC's new Superman Red and Blue anthology miniseries.
Yeah, again, more on the same track. I don't think this is like a Superman Red, Superman Blue situation. I think that's just the kind of name of it, or maybe it's just about seeing different perspectives. I think of the Man of Steel. So if you're going in because you liked Superman Red, Superman Blue. I don't know that that's what this is, but I think it'll be another kind of fun, interesting sort of take on things. And again, the sort of, I think the business freedom of an anthology book is even if the book costs $5 instead of $3, that's still cheaper to print and all of that stuff than having 2 separate $3 books. And So, and if the backup story isn't doing well, you just change that one out. Or if the main story isn't doing well, you just change that one. Like, there are different ways to change it without canceling the book.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully that is a more sustainable practice for them. I have to imagine that's partly why they're doing it.
Yeah, I'd figure as much. But I like it. I'm into them.
Yeah.
Some final piece of comic book news here. Gabe Eltabe signs deal with DC.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. I like him. I like him a lot. I think that's cool. So this is like one of those exclusive deals.
It looks like it. That would be my guess.
Does it say like what all? I can't remember what all he's working on, but yeah. I mean, that's dope. A cool creator that you would have seen on a bunch of different titles.
He was a colorist for Green Lantern and various like Batman titles.
Yeah.
He's probably more notably known for his like Dark Horse Star Wars comics that he had done. So he basically made a tweet that said, guess who just signed their first writing deal for DC Comics, Warner Media. If you're out there.
He's good to be a writer?
Yeah.
Ooh.
If you're out there and have a dream, keep pushing, never give up, and God is faithful.
Cool.
Didn't know he was a religious guy.
Fair enough.
So
tight.
Yeah, I mean, new writers, new perspectives coming through.
I think, I mean, again, it just sounds like repeating the same things, but I do think that, between Future State this month and next month, and then the sort of not relaunch, but just kind of jumping back into the main line in March, I think we're going to get our first taste of what the sort of new editorial direction of DC is. And it's not even really about continuity or the story, but just like, how are we making comics? And I think there's a little shift there where sometimes like these new eras feel just like, and it's a new era because this time Superman's cape is short, or like, but this is like it seems like a shift in like the practice of making comics, which is kind of interesting.
Now I want to see Batman with like a capelet.
Well, I mean, that was the old Captain Marvel. He always had
that's right.
Like the sort of half cape. That was his deal. Yeah.
Probably safer. Don't get caught in.
Except he did the thing where he like wore it over one shoulder, like he's in Phantom of the Opera.
Oh yeah, that is weird.
Yeah,
doesn't really do anything, does it?
I don't think so.
Final piece of news here. We're a bit behind the eight ball on this one. We've also talked about this already, but we actually got a trailer for Batwoman season 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah, I mean, all of those CW shows are meant to start up this month, including, season 2 of Batwoman with the new Batwoman.
Have you not seen it yet?
I haven't, no. Or maybe I have. I don't think so, though.
Let me see if I can just quickly pull it up, then. Because it's pretty cool, and...
Would you say that it's cool enough that you're going to give it a go? Because I know you fell off early on Batwoman.
No, I'm not going to do that. It looks fine. I've seen it a bunch on TV, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is the thing. But no, probably not. But I will pull it up. This fucking... I need to reset this. This is not my... There's like somehow a weird content filter on this iPad I'm using. It's like my business partner's. I have no idea why.
Well, you got to stop streaming all that porn at the office.
But then if I like refresh it enough, it'll work. So I don't know.
And I know because I have gotten bored to work at the office.
I've got my own computer. I don't know. I'm gonna.
One of the perks of being the guy in charge.
That's right. You can watch as much porn as you want, even though it makes everyone uncomfortable.
Even in the middle of a meeting.
Yeah.
No headphones.
It's like, and this is why I think for your next quarter,
it's your ringtone.
So awful.
All right, let's do this. Interesting. Did it look to you like the city knows that Kate is gone?
Yeah, it seems like that.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
I also don't know how I wish that they wouldn't have continued with Alice. Like, I wish that we've gotten, and maybe that's just the way the transition's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a thing like Arrow 2 with like Malcolm Merlin, right? He was just like in and out for all the seasons, not the big bad the way he was in the first season. Maybe Alice was just like a thread to keep weaving.
Yeah, because I just was not into that character. And now that there's not even like a familial sort of connection, I'm like...
It certainly makes less sense. But like the cool like Batmobile and that, like look pretty dope. Yeah.
I'm just wondering how they're going to also thread the needle with it's like now there's no direct connection to this character and Batman. So it's like...
Yeah, it'd be funny like if like a season from now, Bruce comes back and and Fox has to be like, so initially there was your cousin, but now your cousin's gone. And this person is like, so Bruce, this person, Bruce.
It's just like, but why? Like,
yeah. I think it's kind of funny. Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen, but it'll be funny if it did.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of new beginnings.
Oh,
this week's theme.
Fuck yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. Fucking episode 1 to now. What a transition. So much better.
Yeah.
Another new beginning.
Now we're starting over.
Yeah, this is the first episode
Fresh
of the rest
start.
of our lives.
Fresh start. The first episode of the rest of our lives. Yeah, we're talking.
See you next summer.
We're talking about characters that change mantles or take over new titles or change their mission or all sorts of different things like that. That's as close as I can get to like a New Year's tie-in.
Yeah, exactly. Close enough.
Yeah,
that's what we're shooting for.
Listen, we're like in year 4. What do you want from me?
Are we going to make one of those declarative statements about when the podcast ends, like Doughboys?
Yeah, I think everyone should place bets right now. So we know when Ghostfacers will end just because of how many episodes there are. It ends in 2027 or something like that. Yeah. Like in April or I can't remember exactly. It was something like that. So I'll just let's put it out there.
Do we kill ourselves or do the podcast end first?
No, I was going to say, does Dr. DC
end before?
End before or after Ghostfacers? Hashtag win or lose Chester.
God. To think that we're doing like trying to find more ways to talk about DC in like 6 years from now. It's like, I don't know, this is Batman 10. We'll just deal with it.
This is Utility Belt 3.
Yeah. Smoke bombs, use them or lose them. We're re-bringing it back.
Yeah, we'd like to welcome our guest, smoke bomb manufacturer.
Yeah.
That is really funny, actually.
Let's not do that. New beginnings.
All right, let's do it.
Let's get into the questions. We're going to Facebook.
Go and do the face and the book. Go and do the Facebook.
So much easier when your body's not broken by nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a weight is lifted.
I mean, the weight's still there, but
it definitely is. The holiday was not kind.
Oh no, I gained like 10 pounds.
I did too, and remember where I started.
Well, yeah.
I am within 5 pounds of being fully 100 pounds heavier than when I graduated university.
Oh my! When you graduated university, was that your smallest?
As like an adult, yeah, because I was doing like 60 hours of rehearsals a week. I was fit.
Okay.
Let's just say when I graduated university, I was 175.
Okay, well, you just said it then. Yeah, okay.
270. Yeah. What are these chairs rated for?
It's 245.
What is this house rated for?
God dare not ask that question.
You're going to have to like edit out all of the sounds of the house settling while we're
To be
recording.
fair, your dad came up here. I think we're fine. Your dad's bigger than you.
Yeah.
You're never going to be as big as your father.
Yeah, but he doesn't carry the weight of disappointment I do. Yes.
No, he does, just not on himself.
Fuck. All right, let's get into the questions. Yeah, 2021. It's going to be a good year. Yeah.
First question from
piece of shit.
not a piece of shit. Our reviewer himself, Ryan Putney.
Ryan Putney.
Yeah, Ryan put review and me
Oh,
both in book.
yes. Just a knee in a book.
That's how you read. Are there any characters you wish would take up a new mantle or turn over a new leaf? Also, could you explain how Jason came back into the Bat family as the Red Hood?
Oh, Christ.
Okay, let's do the Red Hood thing first.
Yeah, so I mean, Jason Todd was Robin, is killed by the Joker. And then many, many years later, there's that Under the Red Hood story where he comes back.
Yeah.
And I think it was a Lazarus pit.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was also the Superboy Prime retcon punch.
Mm.
The punch where Superboy Prime punched reality so hard that it changed some history.
Mm-hmm.
There's a slightly confusing thing there, but essentially Jason comes back, and as a sort of kind of a fuck you to Bruce, but also a fuck you to the Joker that killed him, he takes the Joker's old mantle. So the Joker, before he was Joker, was the Red Hood. And then he fell in the vat and he became the Joker.
Yeah.
So Jason taking that, he's both flipping off Bruce because his previous biggest failure was creating the Joker. And he's flipping off the Joker by taking his shtick, essentially. And then Jason sort of becomes this like anti-hero. I mean, hero really shouldn't even be in there. But he becomes like a crime lord who goes after crime lords.
Crime lord?
Yeah, like he would like take over drug enterprises.
Lord of crime lords.
A perfect illustration of it is actually in the animated Under the Red Hood movie. He says something like,
is a crime lord someone who has the ability to go in at any crime, like they can access any crime of all time?
Yeah, they have their getaway Cardis. I'm so upset that I knew where you were going.
Yeah, we're one.
Yeah, no, there's a moment in that animated film where he says something like, now you work for me, you kick up 60% of your drug profits to me. So he's still a criminal, but he goes, but you don't fucking sell around schools. You do that, I'll kill you. So he's like definitely a
Captain
crook.
Cold situation.
He kind of gets that rogue's sort of like crook with a conscience kind of thing. He's obviously willing to kill and things like that. He's obviously hurt that he was replaced so quickly that Bruce didn't kill the Joker for killing him. He takes it as like, you never cared about me, all this kind of stuff, right? But then Jason also goes on to like antagonize and be bad to the rest of the Bat family. Like when Bruce is presumed dead, he goes, there's the whole battle for the cowl. He fights Tim and Dick and like all of these characters.
Do you think that's what's going
to try and become Batman? He's an antagonist like through the multiverse, like with other characters and that. I actually don't remember the moment where he was welcomed back to the Bat family, and I wonder if it was just the New 52 retcon. Someone might have to correct me, but I don't remember a specific issue before just the New 52 when Jason's just the Red Hood and part of the Bat family.
Yeah.
Where it happened, where he was like, no, you're back in. You can't kill anyone, but we want you back. To me, it's almost a clean break there. I might just be forgetting something between Final Crisis and that, which is likely, but it almost feels like that was just the retcon.
Do you think
we actually didn't see the moment where they were like, and you're back.
Yeah. Do you think that they're going to do something like that along with Titans? Like they're going to tell that story at all? Because it feels like they're building up Jason to be like having a bunch of issues.
They're gonna make him the Red Hood. We already know that. We've seen the costume and stuff. But I mean,
like, do you think he's gonna become like
they're
a
definitely
villain?
They're definitely not going to kill him and bring him back, because if they were going to, they missed their shot last season with Deathstroke, right? So I mean, it's already going to be a very sort of loose adaptation. But I mean, I would imagine eventually they'll swing him back around into the fold. But I think he's gonna antagonize. He's gonna
like
say,
next season maybe he's the
I think he's gonna. I think it's him and Blackfire are meant to be kind of the two that they have to deal with. it wouldn't surprise me that he comes back around and is part of them again, but like at least next year, like I don't know if he's going to go after them or they're just going to try to stop him from going down a bad path or whatever.
Do you think we'll get a Tim then?
I think we're supposed to see a Tim Drake, but I don't think we're supposed to see him as Robin yet. But
because I really wish we would get a Damien. That's just because for the humor of it. I think
it would be legitimately funny to see in live action to watch a little kid play.
Yeah,
that like there is something entertaining, but there's a reason that some people like Damien. I can't. Like I'm so like
I like it in.
I think I only want a live action Damien if I get a live action John Kent. If we get Superman's kid and Damien, then I'm in. If we live action Super Sons, I'm in. But I don't think I just want Damien. I'm speaking as Bruce.
Yeah. I mean, there's always ways to deal with the Robins you don't want.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what about the first part of this question, which is any characters you wish would take up a new leaf,
right?
Or a new mantle.
Oh God, I mean that's an interesting question. I mean, I go two ways on it because there are some characters where I'm like they don't need a different name. It's fine to have like 4 Flashes.
Yeah,
Wally, Barry, Jay. Like you can all call yourselves the Flash. It doesn't matter. Love that. And then there's other characters where I'm like I just completely don't feel that way. Which is like right now I'm like, so is John Kent Superboy or is Connor Superboy?
That's my instinct.
And I kind of go like. And I don't know what the difference is. I don't think there is one, but for some reason, I don't like it. I don't like there being multiple Superboys.
It's my instinct too.
I feel like the one that needs to change is Connor. John, I think, gets to keep it because he's Superman's actual son. I think Connor wants to. He feels like a character that would want to do his own thing, like Nightwing or something like that. I want Connor to have his own thing.
You know what I would love is that if one of the Superboys would sort of specialize in one of their abilities and become like a character about that ability.
Oh, I see.
And see how far they can push that. Because I think the thing with...
Instead of just being like, I mean, obviously with Superman, it's hard to tell because he's very good at a lot of things and very strong and very powerful.
But what if they like focused in on one thing and like how far could you really push
if he became the best at X ability?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a neat take. Like a super character who is specifically like about speed.
Yeah.
Or a super character who is specifically about
laser eyes. Like
like senses. Like visions and hearing.
What more could you do with those, right? Like
that's an interesting take actually. Yeah, I mean, if you go that route, then whatever the power is could sort of inform what you would call, like what their new mantle would be, what their new hero code name would be.
Well, that's what I mean, because if you look at something like even the Flash, when he suddenly focuses in on a specific ability, because you think, oh, he's just fast, but it's like, well, no, but he learns how to do fast reading. Like,
he can like speed think.
He can focus on a specific skill set and expand that. So you would think the same thing with this Superman.
That's an interesting point. That's a good one. Yeah, I don't have like a name I would give him, but for some reason the Superboy thing bugs me. Even though I'd be the first person to defend there being a ton of fucking Flashes.
Oh yeah, like, funny. I think the other one for me is I would love to see a Green Lantern have a lantern somehow, but without going under a specific color, but become like a vigilante lantern.
Right, like they somehow don't. They're
like disconnected from a corp, but like maybe still a Green Lantern technically, but maybe sort of like I don't know. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, sort of like out of the jurisdiction of the Corps, or
like a martial law kind of like thing or something like that. Like
like a
Lone Ranger,
like a Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
Green Walker, Texas Lantern,
something like that. I mean, that's the other thing too, right? Is that they technically all have jurisdictions, right?
This is the bit that always gets murky because I mean, for a while it was there was a Green Lantern in each sector.
Yeah,
you didn't even get to leave your sector.
Yeah.
You left your sector. The Guardians would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Then it was you're kind of like a big amorphous core. We sort of recruit you from sectors,
Yeah.
but you go where you're needed. And then it was like, yeah, we should have 6 from Earth.
Yeah.
Earth is always a problem.
Because I would love.
And then it was like, just like whoever was closest with the most.
Yeah.
Like, there's probably technically still a rule about it, but it's always pretty fluid. So, I mean, the idea of someone flying under the radar or like getting their hands on a ring or a version of a ring or something like that is not crazy. I think what I'd want them to be like an alien.
Yeah.
On an alien planet, but just not part of the core.
I think that would be cool. Or the idea that there's like a level up from a lantern where it's like you have like less rules. You're like,
and I mean, and that's a thing that the core has done in different versions before. So you could totally bring back like the Alpha Lanterns or the whatever. They've had a few different names, but something the like Honor Guard or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and have like sort of like John sort of like be raised up to that level.
Yeah, that'd be kind of neat.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, I dig
Those
that.
are my first sort of.
It's starting to bug me, my hypocrisy about the Superboy thing, but I gotta leave it. But like, I still just don't know why.
It was my instinct too to go Superboy.
Connor was Superboy first. Why am I kicking him out?
I don't know how.
I don't know. It's because he's a clone.
Filthy clone. First. What am I fucking talking about? Next question comes from We've Only Just Dandon, who asks, how did Renee Montoya become the Question? Which comic series featured her?
Right. So Renee Montoya is a GCPD detective who actually first appears in the Batman animated series. This is another one of those characters that started in the cartoon and then moved to the comics. Mm-hmm. The best series to see, to see Montoya in is a series called Gotham Central, which was just about the cops. Every once in a while you'd see Batman and it was tied to what was happening in the comics, but it was about the police department.
Okay.
It was a wild book. Like, it was so good. Really like gritty characters, great drama. It was like watching NYPD Blue or something, but it was a cool book. And Montoya and her partner Crispus Allen were big characters in that book. And she had gone through a lot. Like, at one point, Two-Face became obsessed with her and outed her as a lesbian to the cops and to everyone. And then like she kind of got caught up in, she was sort of the cop that break the rules a bit. And then she and Alan got caught up in this thing, and Alan was killed, and she couldn't bring in, Corrigan to justice and stuff, like all these things. And she ends up quitting the GCPD and she becomes an alcoholic, or she already kind of was, but she dives into alcoholism. And then I think it's in 52. I think it's in the weekly series 52, which is just post Infinite Crisis. The original Question, Vic Sage hires her to help him start looking into Intergang, and he does this because he's dying. He's got cancer or something like that. And eventually in that series, part of it is because he is ailing, and part of it is because she's training and she's learning, she's finding a new purpose, investigating this thing, and she's not a cop anymore, but she's doing this good work. She does don the mask, and then she eventually just becomes the Question. She takes over as the Question for Vic Sage, and Vic dies. And then she becomes the Question. Then you'll see her in like the Detective Comics run where Batwoman was the lead, because she and Batwoman have had a relationship. You see her in Final Crisis. She's the one that goes multiverse hopping to collect all of the Supermen from the different Earths.
That's right.
Waller recruits her to do that. Like, Montoya is big, most recently you would have seen her in the Lois Lane solo series that was out. Lane hires her to sort of work with her while she's investigating. Really cool character. Renee Montoya was big in Final Crisis. Final Crisis Revelations is like Montoya's a main character in that, and she's up against Vandal Savage with the Mark of Cain and the Spear of Destiny controlling the Spectre. There's like it's like way out of her depth. For a character that just puts on like a no face mask and punches.
But I mean, you killed her father, so you got to prepare
to die. How long were you waiting for that?
We don't need to talk about it.
It's inconceivable that you wouldn't have said that.
Yeah. It pained me not to.
But yeah, Montoya's dope. That's how she became the Question.
And which comics sort of feature her?
So, Gotham Central,
Yeah.
52, Detective Comics, Final Crisis Revelations, Lois Lane.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All 6. Let's leave Facebook and head on over to Twitter.
Twitter.
First question comes from Jeff Whaley.
Jeff Whaley.
Jeff Whaley.
So stupid.
Who asks? Quite
We should have gone New Year, New Drops. We should have issued a challenge to ourselves.
Oh, God.
But it's too late. We'll have to wait until 2022.
Because we're so wildly creative with the ones we've got.
Yeah.
We could just easily come up with new ones.
Our canon is populated with these rich characters.
Yeah, we're sizzling and popping with new ideas constantly.
Yeah. We're a veritable, like, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. In that one of us comes up with a lot of it.
Oh, you know who I am.
Oh, no. I listened to a bunch of Jack. I got it in my head. I was like, I need to prove Richard wrong.
Yeah.
And I went, I found a bunch of
Yeah.
old Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
And like in interviews, he fully does not sound like what
You didn't listen
poo.
to the ones I did. It's okay.
I think
You gotta listen to the
I
show.
kind of wonder if you listened to the ones that you did.
There's a whole docu-series that Kirkman does.
Yeah.
He's in
And
there.
halfway through the interview, he gets like stuck in a tree halfway.
Yeah. You saw the same documentary.
Bother. Oh, I wish I was Mr. Miracle. I could get out of this honey trap.
Stan Lee comes by and he goes, all right, I'll help you out.
Stanley is Eeyore?
Yeah.
I don't know that this tracks.
No, it does.
I think Ditko is Eeyore.
You didn't watch the same documentary as me.
Excelsior.
Just the complete opposite of him. Yeah. Jeff Whaley simply asks,
Yeah.
Rick Grayson?
First of all,
Yeah.
fuck you, Jeff. Right. Rick Grayson. Okay, so in the relatively recent run of Batman,
Yeah.
Tom King's Batman.
Yeah.
run, as part of Bane's big, break Batman psychologically and all this kind of thing, he hires the KG Beast to attack Nightwing.
Yeah.
KG Beast shoots Dick in the head, but it doesn't kill him, but it affects his memories.
Yeah.
When he wakes up, he's Rick Grayson. Rick, R-I-C. Not no K.
Rice Grayson.
Yeah, Risk Grayson. And a bunch of characters try and tell him who he is
Yeah.
and explain stuff to him. And even as he learns it, he goes like, that's great, but I don't
Want to be Dick.
really want to be that. And he's sort of like just surly. He becomes so uninteresting because he becomes every character ever, which is like, no, that's not my life.
It's not my bag, baby.
It's like, I mean, Rick does start doing
I don't
some
want
sort
your
of
life, Batman.
He gets an accent.
I don't want your life.
That would have been such a better move is if fine, he loses his memory, but he also gets an accent.
I want to play football, Batman. You don't know me.
But yeah, so then Rick is just this sort of very unlikable version of Dick Grayson who kind of has some of the beats of Dick, but not his personality, not his heart, not his drive, not his want to be a hero.
Leadership.
Rick does kind of start falling into some Dick Grayson patterns because he can't fully ignore
Who he
when
is.
bad things happen or who you are inherently, all that kind of stuff, right? But then there's like another step in there too, because then there's a memory crystal that the Court of Owls have because the Court of Owls want him to finally become the gray son of Gotham like they wanted back in the New 52. And then there's a memory crystal.
Then he wants to become the memory crystal.
And then Joker takes the memory crystal and gives him a false memory that he's always been the Joker's sidekick, and then he goes by Dickie Boy for
That's
a bit.
fucking hilarious.
And he goes by Dickie Boy, and this is during Joker
Holy
War.
shit.
And then they finally beat him and memory crystal him back to
Yeah.
Dick Grayson. He's finally Dick again. He's
Yeah.
back. He's back, baby. But it was a long time. Like, by the standards that we talk about now,
Yeah.
it wasn't long at all. It was like Death of Superman length of time. It was like 8 months, 9 months or something like that. But like reading it, everyone was like, when is he gonna not be fucking Rick anymore? It was like the worst thing that could have happened. It was like, it was probably more than, it was maybe just a bit over a year. But it, you know, when we talk about like, and they came back 2 years later, that when we just say that, we go like, ah, fuck, they didn't even like let it sit. But for this one, it was like, this was too long. Like, he needed to be Dick Grayson like 3 issues later. Like,
they changed him, and now he's Richard Grayson.
call me Richard Beigeson.
Oh, no.
That's the bit that changed.
Yeah. I'm Dick again. Dick
Yeah.
Beige Son.
Yeah, technically it's a circus, but we don't go in for all those flashy acrobatics. It's mostly just the petting zoo and this slow-moving train.
Oh, I've also got this ball. Watch as it moves. It's just uninteresting.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, wait. I was like, this is a reference to something.
No.
Think about circus movies with balls.
Nope. Just a ball.
I mean, that's a perfect Richard Beigeson impression. And we've just added a new character to our lore. 2021.
Oh, they didn't even get the one before we got a mic.
Hey, I'm Christ in here.
Rising.
Italian Jesus. American Italian Jesus.
You like this water? He's some vino.
Hey, there was a 3-car pileup on the way out of Bethlehem.
You just do it.
just like weird stand-up.
Hickory dickory God.
Mamma mia, said she was a virgin. God, yeah, some great new character work
I love
this
it
year.
so
but yeah,
much.
that's Rick Grayson.
All right.
In a nutshell.
Next question. Oh, no, this is me, Rick Grayson in a nutshell.
Oh no!
Let me out.
3 new characters.
Next question comes from our favorite spacey, sexy texture.
Cosmic DM.
That's right. The only one.
I almost completely
Blasting
I was
off.
almost like rolling safe.
God, I didn't say the most interesting resident. Cosmic DM asks.
Yeah, fuck you, Cosmic DM.
Yeah.
You're not in.
You're not even half the man that Beige Son is.
Richard Beigeson. Now another question. I'll provide an answer for you if I can. I don't know everything. I don't read that much.
Well, unless
I also don't really watch TV. I sometimes like to sit.
I like the texts on the back of the sugar packets.
Granulated sugar.
Wow, what a ride.
I think I need to sit down.
Feeling a little dizzy.
What does Cosmic DM ask?
Is it mostly sidekicks who take up new mantles, or is there a history of heroes who change their whole thing too?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just only sidekicks.
Yeah.
But that sort of initial generation of sidekicks, like the characters you consider to be like the original Titans,
Yeah.
they've gone through lots. You know, you get like Nightwing, you get Red Arrow or Arsenal for Speedy, you get Troya, or just going by Donna Troy, or, you know, you get Tempest for Aqualad. All of those ones have gone through some different name change things. They're certainly not the only ones. I mean, and there are characters that, even if you think of them as like part of the family of another hero, they're not sidekicks. Like Batgirl, for example. Barbara Gordon was never Bruce's sidekick, ever.
No.
Fully independent agent. But then when, after the events of Killing Joke were sort of made canon.
Yeah.
Then she becomes Oracle. Now, there's something very specific that precipitated that change for her, but she does reinvent herself. She does become something else. She becomes Oracle. And now she's sort of in a position to be both. She could be Batgirl or Oracle or a combination of both, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
So, that's a character that has made a change that way before. You get a character like Martian Manhunter for a little bit. Is kind of, he was sort of disguised as another character, so I don't know if it fully counts, but he was going by Bloodwind. He was disguised as the other character called Bloodwind.
Okay.
But
you referred so much you get blood wind.
Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no.
What? So no.
No.
No. Me.
Fart so much you get Bloodwind.
Yeah, no, that's just the thing I came up with. Not me either.
I'm picturing you saying like "pull my finger," and then the camera pans, and it's the supernatural like the blood splatter, and then the title card. Like that's a character that took on a new name. We talked about the Joker. He was Red Hood first, and then the accident at Ace Chemicals happened, and he became the Joker after that. There's lots of characters who adopt a new identity, either because of some sort of pivotal moment or because they need to step out of the shadow of another character. But yeah, I mean, certainly sidekicks definitely do it. The Robins, there's a certain thing where eventually you don't want to be Robin anymore. Jason becomes Red Hood. Tim became Red Robin, and then Drake, and then back to Red Robin, and then just Robin. There's all sorts of different ones. But generally, yeah, those sidekick positions, you kind of quote unquote graduate out and become something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Atom Smasher. He went by Nuklon for a bit, and then he became Atom Smasher. That's one that's like not a sidekick.
Yeah.
But he changed his costume, sort of changed his deal a little bit. There's a few examples of that out
but more often sidekicks.
Often sidekicks.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Like if you're sort of under someone's shadow for a long time and suddenly want to like break out on your own.
Yeah, I mean, there are characters. Guy Gardner went by Warrior for a bit, but it was because he was like not a Green Lantern.
Yeah,
Green Lantern is like the name you get when you have that job. You don't just get to keep being Green Lantern when you aren't.
It's not like the president.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly. All right, let's go to the next question from Mad Seb, who asks, Carrie Kelly, created for the Dark Knight Returns Millerverse of Batman, how does she fare as a credible Robin, and can we finally weave her into the main Earth Prime? Maybe a teenager to rival Damian, or a young adult to chill with Tim or Jason or Dick?
Right.
Melcy.
So the context, Carrie Kelly in the Dark Knight Returns, the sort of first kind of big Millerverse Batman.
Yeah.
She is a kid who sees that Batman has come back and goes out of her. She's looking for purpose, and she goes out of her way to find Batman. She sort of rescues him, and then he trains her to become Robin. And then in later stories, like in Strikes Again, I think she goes by Cat Girl or something like that. She kind of has her own name. She's not Robin anymore. I think if you keep following those stories through like Master Race and Golden Child and all those ones, she eventually maybe even becomes Batman. As far as I think she only works in Miller's world.
Yeah.
I don't think you need her in the main continuity. And like, yeah, maybe it's fun fan service, but I don't always like when my parallel Earths are fully parallel. Like, I like it when Earth 2 has like characters that just don't exist on another Earth or things like that, right? Like, we can maybe safely assume that somewhere out there in Gotham there's a Carrie Kelly, but I don't need her to be of consequence on the main Earth because she's of consequence there. And that's not about that's the same argument that people make for a lot of female characters, and that's not why I'm making it. It's just that like she makes sense in Miller's world with this broken old Batman. She's this young, sort of vital, she's got a different perspective than this old hardened Bruce who cannot change. Like, that's the dynamic where she works. I don't think there's room for her between all the Robins. Stephanie Brown, who has been Robin, Batgirl, and Spoiler, like
Crazy.
Cassandra Cain, who has been Batgirl, Black Bat, Orphan.
Yeah.
There's so many Bat family members. I don't think you need Carrie in there, and I don't think there's a space for her because we already have the full spectrum of like best case scenario, hopeful, light, fun Dick Grayson to like kind of incompetent, needs to prove themselves, doesn't believe in like Batman's wealth, kind of Stephanie Brown thing. You have the assassin Damian, you have the hardhead Jason Todd, you've got the brilliant like intellectual successor to Bruce and Tim. You have all of these characters who have sort of taken up positions. I don't think there's a space for her.
No, I agree with that.
That's kind of my thought on it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, go to the next question. That's right, Braydon. Yes, the donkey rises.
Such an insane Twitter handle to have.
Makes me the happiest I've ever been. Who asks, would you...
I like to imagine that at some point, maybe Braden is politically active and is like tweeting with a CNN hashtag, and then on the Chiron you just see Braydon, yes, the donkey rises, be like, the president's policies are actually... It's like a really insightful tweet with an insane name.
I always like that on Reddit when someone like underneath the thing where they like suddenly make this like really profound thing and their name's like Fish Cuck or something.
Yeah, come dumpster 420.
That makes me more laugh harder than anything, especially when someone comments on it.
Yeah.
Would you say that the Robin persona is kind of the training wheels sidekick identity before the heroes learn to stand on their own? Thinking of Red Hood, Nightwing, Spoiler, etc. Do you think this is Batman's intention or just a coincidence? Or I'm going to also put in there bad parenting so they realize it and leave.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he set out to make a training program, but when the initial Robin with Dick, he sees this kid who loses his parents in a traumatic accident, and he says, I could do something about this so that he grows up without all of the anger I have in my heart. And so he doesn't bring him home and say, and now you're Robin. Dick figures it out, and then he becomes Robin. But then that's sort of what that position is. And then when Dick moves on and Bruce sees Jason, he goes like, I have kind of like a system set up that I used with Dick that I can help someone in a different form of trauma, right? And so Jason kind of gets brought in that way. Tim is different because he sort of elects to be Robin because he sees Robin as necessary to Batman, as opposed to Batman giving this gift to a random kid, allowing them to fight crime.
Yeah.
For Damian, though, Robin is a training program again. It's sort of untraining some of the League of Assassins shit.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's training him in the morality of the mission.
Yeah.
And in restraint and compassion. It's a different form, but Robin is a training thing there. Stephanie Brown has been Spoiler and was Spoiler for a long time. She was operating as a vigilante, and then eventually Bruce was like, fine, you could be Robin because I need to train you. Like, Robin has sort of become like kind of the official Bat training program. Where he's like, you can't stand on your own. Because with Duke Thomas, it was different. Duke was his own kind of Robin when Robin's was like a social movement in Gotham and all the kids were doing it. And then Bruce was like, I don't want you to be a sidekick. I have something bigger planned for you. To be a part. So he becomes the signal. Bruce recognizes that there's something different about being a Robin there. He doesn't want Duke to be his Robin. He wants him to be another partner.
Yeah.
So Bruce makes a distinction there, and I think there's enough comic evidence that Robin is like a training internship.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Unpaid too.
Unpaid, no benefits.
Except for you get to
live
maybe
with Bruce. Maybe like literal health benefits, but like overall not like a benefit to your life.
No, God, no.
But yeah, I mean, I do think that's what the Robin thing is. I mean, for Stephanie Brown, it was so bad, and she needed to prove herself so badly that she initiated Bruce's like master plan to take down all of the organized crime in Gotham, but she didn't recognize that part of the plan was this guy, Matches Malone, who is Bruce's like underworld alter ego. When he goes in undercover, he goes in as Matches Malone.
So
she
funny.
didn't recognize that. So she kicks off this plan and there's no Matches Malone and it starts like a citywide gang war.
Holy shit.
Like she so badly required that training.
Matches Malone. That's so fucking funny. What a terrible
Great name.
What a narc name.
Matches, hey.
Like, I don't smoke a cigarette. I just hold a match in my mouth.
Yeah.
Because cigarettes are bad.
Yeah, strike me. No, wait, no, don't. Oh, no.
Nice. Next question comes from our favorite religious representative.
Chris Chan.
That's the one and only.
Yeah.
Who asks, not counting reboots, name a new beginning / mission or mantle that is the biggest break from a character's continuity. A decision that doesn't make sense given what's happened before. Also, this episode comes out on my birthday. Can I get a shout out? This definitely... Is this going to come out on their birthday? Oh, yeah. No, this is not an old question. This is a new one.
No, it's a question for this episode.
Oh, well then...
I mean, if people know that episode's coming out on Wednesday. I'm gonna give Chris Chan the benefit of the doubt and say that he knows when his birthday is.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, you're right. We'll wait till next week.
That's when your birthday is from now on. Happy birthday next week.
Yeah. Don't you ever ask for anything again. No.
You come to my house?
Happy birthday, Chris. We're happy to oblige this favor. Please wipe clean the legal fees pending.
Oh, yeah. This is now counts as...
I think we're even now.
Yeah, this even. Cheers.
Right. The one that's the biggest break from... Oh, God. That's kind of tricky. I just got to think about this here. I mean, there's that bit where Hal was the Spectre and he tried to change the mission from being one of vengeance to one of redemption. Mm-hmm. He was literally fighting with the spirit of God's vengeance. He was fused with the spirits of God's vengeance, and he's like, I know what you are, but you're gonna have to do something totally different. And
wow.
It was Hal's will against the power of God.
Jesus.
Which is kind of amazing. I mean, it's such what a perfect Hal story in a way. Mm-hmm. But like that's one where technically like that was a big aberration in what the Spectre's mission is meant to be.
I mean, Red Hood is an easy one.
Yeah, sure. That's right. Yeah, to take on the Red Hood one.
Yeah.
The second Red Hood is a lot different than the first. Yeah, for sure. Dr. Light is an interesting one. So this isn't a character changing their name, but it's another one of someone else taking up the same mantle. So the original Dr. Light is Dr. Arthur Light, the sort of C-list bad guy who we later learn as a serial rapist. But in Crisis on Infinite Earths, we're introduced to Dr. Kimio Hoshi, who becomes a heroic Dr. Light. But she wears the same costume. It's the exact same design, goes by the same name. They both have light powers, but she takes that mantle. Like, she doesn't give herself a different name or whatever. She's like, no, it's almost like that line in Lord of the Rings where Gandalf comes back and he's like, I'm Saruman as he should have been. It's like she's kind of got that vibe to her where she's like, this is what Dr. Light is meant to be. Yeah. Like, I'm going to take it from him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is kind of neat. You know, like, I think those are ones where you could argue that they are departures, but that's not fully what the question is, because it's not one character like making a big right turn, but those are maybe the closest that you get. Because for the most part, I don't know that you see something like completely undo the thing that came before. Jared Stevens as Fate is always a weird one to me. He was technically still fighting kind of magical occult things, but he was hardly a Lord of Order or, doing the things we normally expect of Dr. Fate. I mean, that's maybe one as well.
What do you think about Brainiac 5?
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, that's an interesting one too. Yeah, I mean, Brainiac 5's whole thing is about atoning for the sins of his lineage, right? Both Brainiacs 1 and 2 were bad guys. Brainiac 3, dubious.
Yeah.
Brainiac 4, we don't know that much about. So yeah, Brainiac 5 very deliberately is trying to make up for that. Yeah, I mean, that's a good example of that too, actually. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm almost.
I mean, yeah,
I am.
Yeah, I guess even a broken clock is.
Yeah, I've been answering Brainiac 5 for years.
One day,
it finally made sense.
One day, halfway through the 4th year of this show, it'll make sense.
There we go. It was all worth it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
First question comes from DVZ Stevens.
Oh.
DVZ
Stevens.
I don't know. I think it was.
Also, it's DVZ Stevens. We're in Canada.
I know that it's supposed to be that in Canada.
It is that. It's not that it's supposed to be, just it is.
That being said, I think it should be Z.
It's also Z literally everywhere in the world except for the States. This would be like arguing to use imperial measurements.
No.
It's just, it doesn't make sense.
No, but I think like linguistically it makes more sense for it to be Z because all the other letters are just like sounds. Z is the only one that sounds like a word.
That's not true. W.
Yeah, it should be
right. Like it should be like it should.
Whoa.
We should call it like whoa.
Whoa. Yeah. English language sucks.
It does.
Stupid. DVZ Stevens. I think you meant it to be DVZ just based on.
I mean, I don't really give a shit what you meant.
That's it, Stevens. Your birthday's in next month.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Oh, someone talking about birthdays over here? I think I just had one.
Hey, it's Italian cheese. It's American Italian Jesus.
I believe my birthday's coming up in just the same day that this episode comes out.
Hey, we're gonna have a Last Supper at Eastside Mario's.
What, do you think this is some sort of epiphany you're having? Italian Jesus. Oh.
Hey, Judas, what's the matter you? Hey, Pontius Pilate, shut up in your face. American Italian Jesus. What a bad character.
When a crucifix nail hits your hands on the that's amore.
You sent me that meme, right?
Yes.
With
the moon,
the twisted teeth thing.
Yeah.
The moon, your eye, a big pizza pie.
It's so good. Oh god, that's a really good one. DVZ Stevens asks, with respect to New Beginnings,
okay,
what the fuck is up with Drake? Why isn't he Red Robin anymore?
I think he might be Robin again, or he might just be Robin again. He and Damian might be sharing the Robin mantle right now. So Tim Drake becomes Robin. After a certain amount of time, he becomes Red Robin. Kind of strikes out on his own. I actually am a big defender of the New 52 Red Robin suit. I thought it was cool. It was unique.
It was cool.
It looked different enough.
Yep.
And then, like, in the sort of rebirth, he basically is wearing the Robin suit again, but it just had RR. Like, the only upgrade was he got one more R, and he was Red Robin still. But it had, like, all the green and stuff back in it, which, whatever, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. Like, you could have more than one Robin. I feel the same about that as I do about Flash. Sorry, Superboy. But then Bendis in Young Justice was like, he should have his own mantle. Everyone was like, great. Love that. And he was like, it should still be bird themed. And everyone was like, great. Love that.
Yeah.
You know, he's usually like dressed. He was Red Robin, maybe call him Cardinal or, like, something like that or whatever. And Bendis was like, I think you're really going to like this. So you know how like a duck is a bird? Well, here's something fun. Like another word for a duck is a drake. And guess what?
Oh, yeah.
That's also his last name. New code name, Drake. And everyone was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And everyone hated it. And his costume was like sort of brown and yellow and white, kind of duckish colors. Which is, I mean, I didn't even really hate the design of the suit so much, but it was so like, when you go to the trouble of like, here's this new suit, you don't expect like brown to be the main color.
No.
You sort of...
It's not really a great superhero color in general.
Like, it was fine, but yeah, it was. I think it just wasn't expectations, right? But also the idea that it's like, my code name will be my last name.
Yeah.
Like, was a little silly, I think.
I agree with that.
I think he's back to being Robin now. But I think it started from the right place, which was like, Tim has been out on his own enough. Like, he deserves his own name. But instead of being like, yeah, that, or he's like Oriole, like get some orange in there. Like, there's so many birds you could like call him Finch. Just call him anything, like, and instead he was like Drake. It was his last name, and it also means duck. It's just a little silly, I think.
Hey, you don't think that Drake is also that Tim Drake? Nah, nobody with that stupid. Anyways, why are you here, Jesus?
There's a comic that I can't remember what it is, but someone posted it on Twitter, a panel from it on Twitter recently, where it's like Bruce Wayne sometimes goes online into chat rooms and says, I think Bruce Wayne is Batman, but he's like under a different like username or whatever. And then people go like, you idiot, he couldn't possibly be. And he like goes to conspiracy forums to post that Bruce Wayne is Batman so that they will
think that he's an idiot.
So they'll counter it and be like, you couldn't possibly be.
That's really funny.
I mean, there's the Drake thing almost has that weird reverse logic to it.
Like, what character would possibly make it the same name?
Yeah, there's no way.
Jesus, what are you doing here?
Just waiting for my dad to pick me up. He said to wait here by this here cross. And he said someone would be here.
No, he said go in that hole for a few days. I'm rising.
He's a single dad. He's doing his best.
Yeah. Next question comes from the Nerd Funds.
Hey.
That
was good. I like that one. That's a nice touch.
What was the difference between GL and Sentinel? Why did Alan change his name?
Right. So there's a period in, I think it's the 90s, where Alan Scott, the original Golden Age Green Lantern, who by this point were post-crisis. So now all those Golden Agers, the JSA, they're the first generation of heroes.
Yeah.
But we're all on the same Earth. So Alan Scott, that Green Lantern, he always got his power from this thing called the Starheart, which was sort of this magical energy that was kind of connected to like life, which was why his weakness was wood. Whereas the other Green Lanterns, their weakness was yellow.
Yeah.
So I think it's post-Zero Hour. I think it's after they fight Parallax and Extant. And
Extant gonna give it to you.
A bunch of the JSA are like aged out or whatever. I think he comes out of it a bit younger even. But I think he merges with the Starheart. I think that's what precipitates the change. So Kyle Rayner is the only Green Lantern because the core has been wiped out by Hal when he became Parallax. So Kyle is the last Green Lantern over here. And I think probably from a publishing perspective, they were like, we really want him to be the only Green Lantern. This is kind of where we're going with this.
Yeah.
And so Alan merged with the Starheart and then took the name Sentinel. I'm just at this point, I don't remember. I don't think his mission was different. I don't think he was taking on like different types of heroism duties, but I think that was like what precipitated the name change. He got like a new look, like a new designed outfit. And I think it was that he had the full Starheart energy was in him. He didn't have to charge at a lantern anymore. Okay. I think it was part of him, and he became Sentinel for a bit. Yeah.
That's rad.
Yeah, which is actually kind of a dope name.
Yeah,
like
that's cool as hell.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
I mean, he's the classic Green Lantern. You want to call him Green Lantern, but also like Sentinels. That name fucks.
Yeah, 100%. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Robbie's Just This Guy.
It's 2021. I'm taking his word for it.
Yeah.
It's not up to me to lift you out of this hole, Robbie.
Yeah,
it's what I say as I pour dirt on him.
Jesus, burying Robbie alive?
Yeah, Robbie's just this alive.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't. Is this like a glass half empty thing? Is this how alive is he?
Oh yeah. Or I guess I could like just get him really drunk and I could like do the cask of Amontillado. I could just slowly brick him in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Robbie, it's 2021. I mean, gender is non-existent. You can be as much of a guy as you want.
That's also true.
He's just this guy.
He's just this
guy.
Yeah. This much. Yeah.
Yeah, you can be as much guy or whatever you want.
That's fair.
We're open to it.
Always.
Sexuality and gender don't exist here.
I mean, I would argue the opposite. They exist in all of their open glory.
I just mean the phrases don't mean anything.
Oh, yeah. No, they don't.
No.
I'll tell you that the name Sentinel fucks. I'll tell you that I would fuck Dean. I'll tell you the Black Canary.
I'll fuck any of you.
I'll tell you the Black Canary could step on my neck. I'll tell you anything.
All you need to know is that if it's sexual, it's going to be weird.
If anything, all of sexuality is in this room.
Oh my.
Yeah.
It's palpable. Can I taste it?
No. If you ask nicely. God damn it.
And you wonder how you got that art. Robbie's just this guy.
So upset about that. It's in my house.
Oh yeah, this is the first episode after that, so.
It's in my house. Not up, obviously.
And in your heart.
Well, it's definitely in my mind.
I showed a few more people over the Christmas break.
Stop doing that.
I'm sorry.
It's a small town. I have to live here.
What I'm really hoping is that someone sees you, doesn't know you, but looks at you and then looks at you.
You got to stop showing it to people.
You still haven't put it up on Patreon.
Well, my wife has objections to the idea of giving out the digital file. I think what she wants is for me to just give away the print.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's her way of getting it out of her house.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, that would be $500.
Yeah, I mean, just said, would anybody pay $500 to get a sexually explicit image of me and Dean Winchester?
I mean, that's like...
Hashtag, yes, I would.
WOOD.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That was, yeah. Let's leave it there. We're not going to top that. That was it.
Robbie's just this guy asks, do any superheroes or villains have any additional secret aliases? I remember an episode of Batman the Animated Series in which Two-Face manifested a third persona, the Judge.
Right.
That was a justice-seeking vigilante. Tangentially related, is Two-Face bi? I'm just curious.
So
I bet you are, Robbie.
I will say I don't think canonically Two-Face is bisexual, and I would argue that they probably want to stay away from equating bisexuality with
a choice.
Something that you just flip on,
yeah,
and B, associating it with a dissociative identity disorder. I think it's not like
this half of me is straight.
It's not like from the 40s they were like, yeah, Harvey's bi, and then he became Two-Face. That would be different. But like at this point with the character, I think that something like that would cause more harm than do good in terms of representation and things like that. But no, I don't think there's canonical evidence.
This half is gay, this half is straight. That would be
I mean, it sounds like a robot chicken.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But as far as like, do characters have like other or secret like
other
aliases? So we talked about Bruce has Matches Malone.
Yeah.
So there's Bruce Wayne, which is who he is, but it's the mask he wears publicly.
Yeah.
We have Batman, who is who he is, the hero.
Yeah.
And then we have Matches Malone, which is like a role he takes on where he like cosplays as bad guy and goes like, hey, crime's up 3%, like or whatever criminals say.
What a terrible criminal.
He's still got boardroom talk. Like he can't shake the Bruce Wayne thing. Give me the Q2 crime numbers.
The stock in crime is plummeting.
Where's my crime dividends?
Yeah. All the other shareholders in this crime.
I mean, that's pretty funny too, actually. So that's one.
Mhm.
I think we talked about it maybe in the Gail Simone episode when we were talking about the Secret Six.
Yeah.
And often the setup of that team is that they are brought together by this mysterious, someone goes by Mockingbird. And it's this sort of character wrapped in mystery. And at different points, Mockingbird has either been Lex Luthor or the Riddler, or so Mockingbird is sort of just this like floating mantle that occasionally someone picks up and makes a Secret Six.
Oh, it's like what's it's in Marvel with the samurai character that like that Hawkeye takes on, and then
Ronin.
Yeah.
I guess some different people have been that, I think. Yeah. I mean, those are two that come to mind right away.
Mad Max
is Bruce as Matches, or either of those characters as Mockingbird.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm positive I'm missing something, but yeah, there was that. Was it
Joker's? I feel like it's been somebody else.
Joker often does the disguise thing, but it's not necessarily one he'll always go back to. I mean, a notable one from the New 52 is that he had spent months pretending to be a doctor at Arkham. He was taking like muscle relaxants to like make his face normal, covering himself in makeup and that.
Wow.
Bruce and Batman both worked with this character and had no idea. And at the last minute found out that like for months, this character that had been appearing in Batman comics was the Joker the whole time. So like that was pretty crazy and fucked up.
Yeah. Fuck, that's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also a difference between a character that can just shapeshift like Martian Manhunter or Clayface, and a character that takes on
a new
identity like what we're describing.
Yeah.
I'm positive I'm missing one, but I mean, I think those are a couple of good examples of having sort of like a third and largely secret one. For
sure.
It's not like criminals go like, oh yeah, by the way, Matches Malone, it's Batman. Just pretend that we know.
Otherwise, he's gonna just beat the shit out of you.
This is the one night he won't beat the shit out of us because he's Matches. So please just let him pretend.
So what's my salary for this crime?
My family owns this crime family. He's only got 2 modes. He can only be Batman or Bruce. There's one thing too many.
He just can't. Greatest detective, but not great improviser.
Alfred is listening in like, oh, Jesus Christ. I gave him all the fucking lessons, all my acting training.
Yeah.
I played Falstaff for 3 seasons, and he's...
Very funny.
I love that, yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm a British criminal. Bruce, just stop.
All right, Master Wayne. I think maybe it's time to come back to the cave.
No, I'm really sneaking around out here.
You've done a great job. You're very, very much in your character. I think you should be proud. I've polished a daytime Emmy here for you.
How dare you talk to Matches Malone like that? Or now I'm an Australian criminal.
Does this count as a full 4th character?
Matches Malone.
Our Matches Malone.
I'm from the south.
That's not a crime. This is a crime.
Howdy, partners, looking to do a crime out here.
Matches Malone at your service.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Just cycling. Every time he shows up, he's got a different accent and a different shaped mustache.
It's a Matches Malone. Looking to do a bigger pizza pie crime.
I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I don't. Next question comes from Flying Fox 1089, who asks, "What is the best overall change a character had?"
Oh, it's probably Nightwing.
That's the
That's, I mean, Robin had been with the Teen Titans. He had sort of already started stepping out from the shadow of Batman. And then over the course of the Judas contract with Deathstroke basically tearing the team apart and coming after them in every way, he takes on this mantle, which later is retconned that he got the idea from Superman.
Yes.
That there is an ancient Kryptonian hero, like a hero on Krypton, who went by Nightwing, and that he represented all these great things, and that Superman had told him this story, and then Nightwing chose that for himself, which is that's a fun retcon. I like that one. But I mean, it's got to be him, because even when he was Batman, and then like he was an agent for Spiral, which was like a spy agency. We got that Grayson series where he was like a super spy. That's a fun series. That's a great one. It's always like you want him back in the blue. It's always like as soon as he gets back in that Nightwing suit, you're like, now it's right.
Yeah, now he's
like to the point where even if he was Batman, you'd be like, for how long?
For
how long though, right? And then like if he got a chance to go back to Nightwing, you'd be like, and now it's right.
Yeah,
it feels right. I think he's a hero, and that's a name that the hero community respects. I think it's a name that the villain community respects. Like part of the shock of the Forever Evil story when the crime syndicate invades is that the first thing they do when they gather the villains and they're like, listen, we're not the Justice League. I know we look like them. We killed them. We're evil. We'll kill you too. Is they hold up Dick Grayson and unmask him in front of everyone. And everyone's like, oh, fuck. Like they got Nightwing. Like all the heroes see it. All the villains see it. And everyone's like, oh, they mean business.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big deal. I think it's got to be Nightwing, right?
I mean, that sounds right to me. Yeah.
It's the coolest one. I think that's the coolest. It's a cool name. It's also just like, it's a cool name upgrade, but it still like nods to Robin because it's got the wing piece in there. Like design wise, name wise, legacy wise, I think that's the best, how the kids say, glow up.
Well, yeah, I mean, because there's like characters who become like the mantle that they're under, like the sidekicks who become the kid, but it's never as much. I mean, you could say like a Kid Flash becoming the Flash or something like that, but it's not the same thing.
I mean, Wally is iconic as the Flash, but you're right. It's different. Yeah, there's something about it sits differently, I think.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, next question comes from, much like the sibling I absorbed in the womb, it's Cursed Blob.
Oh, God. Jeez Louise.
Who asks, what's the catalyst for Guy Gardner's change to the warrior persona?
Right. Guy Gardner, I think he gets kicked out of the Green Lantern Corps.
Oh, really?
I'm going to try and get this right. Pretty sure Hal,
you got the name the Green Thumb.
Hal or Guy or someone initiates a fight, and the stakes are you get kicked out of the Corps, and Hal beats the shit out of him, and Guy gets kicked out of the Corps, and so he takes on this. He gets his hands on a Quardian power ring, like the one that Sinestro had, the yellow ring, but this is before there was a Sinestro Corps or things like that. He gets his hands on that, and he goes by Warrior for a bit, and then that warrior persona stays with him for like we're talking about the end of the Justice League International era. He gets kicked out of the Corps. He becomes warrior, and he's warrior through Death of Superman, through 0 Hour.
Is he like
he's warrior or a version of it until Hal comes back to life in Green Lantern Rebirth, which is like 2006 or 2004 or something like that. So from like the early 90s to 2004, Guy Gardner was not a Green Lantern. He was Warrior. And at various times it was either like a cool leather jacket, or then he got this like sort of alien metal suit that could like manifest weapons and sort of morph and stuff.
But he didn't have any abilities.
Well,
like he didn't have a ring. He didn't have a lantern.
Well, so he had the Quardian power ring for a bit. Then he got this suit that could manifest weapons. And then something happened with that, and it made these like fucking tattoos on these like kind of colorful tribal-y tattoos, and they gave him powers.
Weird.
And then he opened a restaurant called Warriors that was like a superhero themed restaurant kind of thing.
Oh, like the one that they have in Kingdom Come?
Yeah, kind of like that idea, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that era for Guy Gardner, I mean, I guess if you were reading him, it's such a big era. It's actually probably a decent part of his character, but it's such like not what the modern Guy Gardner is about. Like, it's only when Hal comes back to life that he becomes a Green Lantern again. It was like over a decade.
Jeez.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of wacky, actually. But yeah, you'll get a lot. You'll see him in like Death of Superman. He's got this big, stupid leather jacket, like a W warrior. And he's,
Wow.
I think he tries to start his own hero team called the Warriors. It's like, there's all sorts of weird Guy Gardner crap in that era.
Wow.
Yeah. Very, very, very strange one. But the catalyst of it is that he's kicked out of the Corps. He stops being a Green Lantern.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the last question. You know what time it is.
Oh, do I? Yes, it's the game.
That's right. It's like, what else would it be? It's time for everyone's favorite game. Can you guys name a character based on how someone who does not read comic books can describe that character to us? If you don't know what that means.
My body's ready.
I send a photo of a DC character to my wife.
Your wife.
She does not read comics, nor does she care for them, and she sends back 4 clues describing what she sees. It's been a while.
It has.
It's been a while.
I had a couple of flubs during Darkness.
Yeah.
I had a couple of fucking no-hitters. Or, no, rather, I had no-hitters were the flubs, and then I had a couple of, what's the opposite of a no-hitter? All hitters. Grand slams, home runs. I don't know sports.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Could you not tell by my rambling?
No. First clue. Zap.
Black Lightning?
No.
Okay.
No.
Live Wire?
No.
All right.
No.
Bumblebee?
Nope.
Okay.
Uh,
Queen Bee?
no.
All right, sorry.
Next clue.
I normally don't guess this much.
Yeah, I know. You're really scrambling. Next clue.
Yeah, sure.
Positively prepared for eye safety.
Okay. Goggles and Zap. Oh, maybe Zap is ray gun and goggles. Adam Strange.
I knew you were going to say Adam Strange. It's not. I would have thought that as well.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Okay. All right. Next one.
Small, tough, and matchy.
Is it Mas and Menos?
It is. Mas y manos.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think means like more and less in Spanish.
Less, yeah, more or less.
Yeah. Mas y Menos.
The final clue was Super Aladdin or Super Aladdin.
Oh, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Did you not see The Dictator?
Oh, no.
Oh, you really should see The Dictator. It's actually probably his best movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
In the movie, because the dictator's name is Aladdin.
Right.
And he's such a shitty dictator that he changes a bunch of words in the language to be his name, but like including positive and negative.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So there's a scene where this guy's like at a doctor.
I see where the clue comes in. Yeah.
And the doctor's like, so you're HIV Aladdin, and you see the guy being like, huh? Oh. It's probably the best joke in the whole movie.
That's very funny.
That's very good. So
wow, Mas y Menos.
That's a Teen Titans character.
That is
2 characters.
Yeah, that's a fun little deep cut. There's a great couple of Teen Titans Go episodes with Mas y Menos.
So I figured you'd know who they were. Yeah.
Nice.
I thought you'd like that. Well, did any of you residents get that one? I mean, Zap really didn't send you a lot of clues, but
Zap.
I was like, why Zap? And she was like, I don't know. That's what I thought when I saw it.
I mean, even the premise of the game though could easily it's only about accurately leading to what the image is, not really even what the character is.
No.
The fact that I've gotten as many as I have is a miracle.
Are you trying to give yourself a compliment?
I wasn't trying. I was, but
wow, big shot in town. We would love to hear from you residents. All you have to do is reach out through our various social media platforms, and maybe you could send us a question for next week.
You know, it's been a while since we did one of these. So next week, we're doing a family-friendly episode
Oh my God.
about family-friendly DC Comics.
Oh, wow.
So
Eh.
things where it's not the Joker's neck gets snapped, it's not
Yeah.
Barbara Gordon gets shot. We're talking about like kids and like youth DC Comics properties. Could be TV, could be comics, could be whatever.
Are we trying to
and
do
we're
it-
and we're gonna do the episode.
Oh, we're going to do
PG.
a Good Boys
We're
episode?
gonna do a Good Boys episode.
Oh, no.
We haven't done one of these since episode 101.
Wow. But one of my favorite things ever was when the Meme Boys would do a Good Boys episode.
Right.
And it was always very funny to watch them try to be like really nice to each other.
Yeah.
It was painful. I really enjoyed it.
So that's next week.
All right. Well, if you want to send a question for that episode, you can reach out to us through our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast.
our Twitter,
At Dr. DC.
our Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast.
our email.
DrDCPodcast@gmail.com.
And of course, we have that subreddit.
r/Dr_DC.
And the doc phone is always open.
208-917-3238.
28917 DCEU.
If you're nasty.
If you're nasty. And except for next week. You can't be nasty.
No, if you're good.
If you're a good boy.
Oh.
No?
We have a whole week to get ready for it.
If you're sweet. Good girl.
Oh no. Further from it.
If you're not naughty. And of course, we're going to go to our website.
DrDCPodcast.com.ca.
And we love those 5-star reviews. Finally at 100. Now to get to 200, and we'll do the Lord of the Rings podcast.
No.
That's the way we had already set it up. So it's perfect. We're at 100. We do the Ghost Facers now. 200. We'll do the Lord of the Rings podcast.
This is a betrayal.
So you could do that through our iTunes or any other platform. We really only get to see them if they're through Facebook or iTunes. So anywhere else, just send us a pic through one of those other platforms.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. I mean, if you want to do something as crazy as write it on pieces of paper and put it in a book, I mean, that...
Very funny.
Those always count. So
Always.
we love that. And of course, if you want even more content from the Doctor and I, you can go and subscribe to our Patreon.
That's right. Patreon.com/DrDC. There's a $1 level, a $5 level, a $7 level. There's extra episodes. There's videos. There's all sorts of fun extra stuff that we put up during Docmas. It's a great time, and it helps support us and keep us doing what we're doing and constantly replacing studio equipment.
That's, oh God, yeah, always. But if you cheap cowards aren't willing to pay for more content, well, we got even more free content and a whole other podcast.
It's Ghost Facers, a supernatural rewind. Just that you called them cheap cowards.
Yeah, that's right. Every single week, every Monday, we review an episode in order for the 15 seasons of Supernatural.
Yeah, we are. I think the season 1 will end first week of February.
Oh,
We're approaching the end of season 1
That's
for
right.
Supernatural. We talk about real world monster lore. We talk about behind the scenes stuff about the show. We watch the episode and do our rewatch. It's a lot of fun. So go check that out.
All right, that is it for this week.
Adios.
Ciao, ciao.
They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.